Hi, I'm Michaela Krupski. I'm here with my co-host Reid Barrett, and we're both diehard ice hockey fans. Today we're going to talk about ice hockey and some controversy around fighting in the NHL and other hockey leagues. Now, ice hockey is a very physical, hard-hitting sport that's been around for hundreds of years, and many people see ice hockey as extremely dangerous, and that's because it can be in certain cases. However, that doesn't change the fans' love for the game. In fact, it strengthens it.
And Michaela, I agree with you as somebody who has played ice hockey growing up all throughout their childhood and into high school. It can be seen as a dangerous sport, almost barbaric, but if you look back in time periods, people used to go to the Dome and the Coliseum and watch gladiators fight, and you hear that people say hockey's like the modern day gladiators, and people will buy food and watch people throw the body around. And although I understand the whole concept against fighting, one of the most common issues with hockey for people is the officiating. I mean, you look at the NHL, especially this year, it's been brutal in my opinion. And there needs to be a way to police the game, really. As somebody who, I wasn't the most skilled player, but more of a physical presence, and you need to be able to set a tempo. And I think it's a great idea for the game to continue on with the physicality and being able to drop the gloves and go at it. If there's a big hit, whether it's clean or not, you just got to stick up for your boys. That's a brotherhood. And when you see someone go down, what I love about the sport is you immediately have a line brawl or somebody stepping up for a teammate there.
Yeah, exactly. And, some people will complain about, oh, the refs aren't letting them fight. But, they're also, looking out for people's safety type thing because, people can get hurt during fights. But, on the other hand, it's, seen as entertainment in the sport to the fans.
Most certainly. And I've talked to casual hockey fans or people who haven't really watched hockey games. And, Michaela, am I wrong in saying that I feel like the majority of casual fans honestly prefer hockey over other sports when they're just jumping in because of the fighting and the physicality?
I'm not sure if it's 100% because of the fighting, because my dad says this all the time. He's like, hockey's ruined other sports for me just because of the speed of the game.
Sure.
And just, everything's 1, 2, 3, go, go, go. It never stops. Whereas, baseball, on the other hand, you're sitting there for 4 hours, right, and it's like watching paint dry.
Right. Well, I feel like you talk about the speed of the game, and I think that's a great point. Again, as somebody who's played no higher than a high school level, but has played throughout their childhood, especially when hitting comes into play. Think about it. You and I have been bumping each other all over the ice. We've been throwing chirps back and forth. You may have laid a questionable hit on me, and we're skating at 5-10 miles per hour, and we've been, again, at each other's necks for the past 40 minutes. At the end of the day, there comes a point in time where, you really frustrated me. And
there comes a point.
Right. And with that, you drop the gloves, and then the minute that somebody hits the ice, the fighting stops. And so, again, it's a way of policing for your team. And if the refs are missing calls or whatever the deal is, it's not like you want to go out and hurt anybody, but you want to set a tone and send a message. And that's kind of what hockey's about. And, again, at the end of the day, you'd get tossed for fighting in high school. I've had my fair share, yep. But you'd get thrown out. And a lot of the times it was against friends. And as a true competitor, right, you drop the gloves, you're angry, you've been PO'd all night, and then the minute you get tossed and you end up leaving the rink, half of the time I'd go out with the kid that I fought with, and we'd go and get Applebee's or something like that. So it really is just it's a point of the game that I think is crucial. If you want to be able to set a tone and protect your teammates, I think fighting should stay in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Because I watch my brother's hockey games. My brother's a senior in high school. He's the captain of his club team, and he's not a fighter at all. He never gets penalties, but if he sees one of his boys get hit, and the refs don't do anything about it, and no one else is doing anything about it,
you got to step up.
Yeah, because he's one of the biggest kids on the team. He's 5'11", he's a big kid, and he'll go out there and he won't fight. He won't get he won't make dirty plays. He'll just go out there and send the message.
Most certainly, and like I said, I feel like that's the most important part of hockey, or one of them is you got to understand, especially going into that locker room, people really, you form a bond with these kids. You're off-ice training and on-ice training for 6 days a week, plus the tournaments. Your family is spending a ton of money, and over time, these turn more into just your line mates or your friends. They turn into family, and if someone goes after your family, I'm a firm believer in an eye for an eye, and I know a lot of people think that's inhumane or dumb, but that is truly something that I believe in. If you have a a big play against a teammate, when push comes to shove, you're there to back your teammates. And sometimes the only way to do that is to answer the call, ring the bell, drop the gloves, and get over it. Because the minute you get sent in the box, you're icing the fist. Because, man, that hurt. But the adrenaline was buzzing. And they know that they can't do that again. And then you get out after the 5 minutes or an ejection. And the message was sent.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's more of a, F around and find out situation.
Most certainly, right. And honestly, Michaela, I feel like some people have really made a career out of being that enforcer that polices the game. Like, you look at Revo, or you look at historically, you can just talk about a bunch of different players. They used to hire bartenders to protect Gretzky. Like, never forget that. And literal bar bouncers. And it's always just been a big point in the game. And when you talk about that physicality, that is leaving the game a little bit. I understand why people don't necessarily love it, but I do think it's very important for the game.
Yeah, some people will worry about safety, and they'll say fighting, and especially in the NHL, will set a bad example for kids. But it's also setting the example. If someone's out there hurting your brothers, and no one's stepping up to do something about it, sometimes you have to be that person to step up and protect your brothers and protect your team.
Definitely, and we're focusing on athletics here. We're not focusing on violence. It's just, again, it's setting a tone, setting a tempo. And if you're going to let your kids watch hockey anyways, if you don't want them to watch fights, why are you letting them watch hockey when it comes to running into other people as well? It's a weird argument to me, and you could say the same thing about, well, then are you not going to let your kids watch football or play video games that include fighting and stuff like that? I feel like this has always been a point of the game, and I'm not trying to sound like an old head, but I think that there's a reason for it, and there's a reason why it's a tradition, and a reason why we have those heated rivalries that fans and players, they mark with that big red marker on their calendar. They're excited. Yep. They're ready to play that game because of the messages that have been sent and that are going to continue to be happening. And I think it's actually a beautiful thing. It's one of the most entertaining parts in hockey.
Oh, yeah. Hockey's my all-time favorite sport, and it probably always will be. You got, NHL players, that are known as fighters, like you said, Revo, you got Tom Wilson, you got Lucic, and you got the famous Gordie Howe, which the Gordie Howe hat trick. Right. Let us sit and talk about that. A goal, assist, and a fight in a game. They've become famous for fighting, but they've also been big role models in a way too. Not in a bad way, just role models.
Right. No, definitely. And some of those players I admire the most because, again, when it comes to protecting your teammates, you always know that if you have a dirty play, something that can truthfully hurt a player, I get that you say, fighting might hurt players. Okay, well, when you get a slew foot or somebody who's going after someone's ankles, Achilles, or something like that, let's take Matt Cook on the Marks of Art hit. That's a perfect example. Sean Thornton, what did he do? Literally, I think it was 24 seconds into the Matt Cook's next shift, drop the gloves, and that's how it is. It sets a tempo of you cannot do that.
If you're going out there just to hurt people, there's got to be those people that go up and be this needs to stop. A message is coming. And if
the ref won't do it, I will. I think that's super important. You need those guys on teams. If you look at any championship roster, any single one, maybe it's not your best player, maybe it's not, but these are the definition of glue guys, and you need that in the locker room. You need that on the ice. You need that on the bench. You need players who aren't going to let other players get away with, questionable antics.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for this episode. Thank you for listening. I'm Michaela Krupski, and I'm signing off with Reid Barrett. Thanks for listening, and have a great night.
Go Bruins.